Welcome to SwitchCorner, my name is Alex, and today we're taking a quick look at the Crisis Core Final Fantasy VII Reunion build on the Nintendo Switch, and specifically this one, it is a performance review. I will be following up here, however, with a full review shortly on the channel, but with that today, it's really about graphics, how it plays handheld and docked, and then of course that frame rate, so hit subscribe, join us here for reviews and deals daily, and let's get started. Crisis Core then, it's an action RPG with some seriously fun hack and slash action. We follow the story of Zack Fair, a young warrior and operative of the Shinra military elite unit. Now the story here unfolds as soldier operatives, they are disappearing and we are investigating the situation alongside our mentor as well as a hero, that hero being Sephiroth. It's a fun story this one and brings back of course Cloud as well. So the gameplay, it's much like a typical Final Fantasy experience in the sense it's exploration, random battles, but these events, they evolve into arena-based combat with a relatively simplistic control scheme allowing for an attack, dodge and block. You'll also get main story missions alongside side quests. In battle then we also do get assists from other characters thanks to a randomized number system in the upper left of the screen, as well as items and magic. The magic attacks are particularly satisfying and we do get to level up along the way. I've always been a fan of this game though, and as I said, I'll have a full review coming up, but this far I've checked out the tutorial as well as 2 or 3 missions and I'm definitely impressed with the port work. Before we get to the performance then, there's currently 2 editions of this game available. That's a standard release coming in at $49.99 USD or your regional equivalent, plus then there is a digital deluxe edition as well. That one's retailing for $69.99. This packs in a digital mini soundtrack as well as a digital art book. If you do decide to grab this game digitally then, consider using cornershop.gg for discounted eShop credits. You'll get 10% off at checkout using code CORNER, and that's going to be instant delivery via email. So the main focus of this HD remaster, no doubt it was the visuals. They've taken a noticeable step up with new 3D models, characters and backgrounds. Alongside this, however, they've also introduced fully voiced dialogue and new soundtrack arrangements. The voice acting of this fight wasn't really for me in English personally, kind of found it grating, so I've now switched over to Japanese, a great option to see here on offer. They've also then adjusted the combat system, which seems great this far, it's just fast paced and responsive. So how does it look? And I'm impressed. We've naturally already seen reviews drop on the Steam and PlayStation build, but the Switch, given the power difference, it is always a concern. Here, however, I think generally they've really managed to maintain the visual style that impresses. The animations on our leads, the enemies, they look really good. The attacks have some nice visual flair. Menus are clean and there's some nice variety in the environments. Those locations as well, I like the new style, but the age of the game, I will say it still shows. They are relatively linear this far after a couple of missions, and the designs, I'll give it this, they are somewhat basic. This far though, I've infiltrated a secret base, explored a desert, went to an underground lab, even currently I'm actually battling my way through mines. When you look at that initial boss though, the fire demon, I was playing docked, and yeah, I think it's absolutely respectful the job they've done here, and I think they're definitely pushing the Switch here for delivery. That resolution though, I will say it can be a little soft at times, particularly noticeable in cutscenes, and of course when docked, they still look good, but this is clearly a limitation put in place to get the most out of the hardware. It's currently targeting 720p with 30 FPS, that is both handheld and docked, and that falls right in line with what I'm seeing. Alongside the resolution though, there's some noticeable pixelation on the character models and world. I've also noticed some minor popping in the larger locations, but again I'd consider this very minimal, and it tends to be, the fauna and the smaller pieces within each location. Handheld, naturally, it smooths things out, and I really like what I'm seeing. While I would struggle personally with Joy-Con, given it's quite a complex at times control scheme, throwing it in a grip or fixture as I did should be the perfect setup. The only warning I will give in handheld, the text, especially that in the lower right of the screen, it is tiny. And now I will say here, I wear glasses and with or without them, no issues for me here, because thankfully it's incredibly sharp, but just kind of take that as a warning and make that judgment for yourself. Unfortunately though, this is a game with a huge amount of information on screen, so I do see why it occurred. You know, they're not wanting to block out any of the action. Maybe a couple of UI options though would have been a nice touch. Frame rate then, and a few missions in and a couple of boss encounters down, and I'm impressed. Aiming for 30 suggests unlocked, and that seems to be the case. There's still a lot of game to come as a warning, but right now, very rarely does this one move from that 30 frames per second. The biggest drop I saw was like 29, so it's really that solid, and I doubt you're going to feel it. It is in no way noticeable. That said though, I have noticed just a couple of slight stutters as the game transitions from exploration to battle, but it's definitely not an issue, and it doesn't in any way impact your controls. Given the game style, although hack and slash at moments, many may want to see 60, which I do get, but for me the game feels incredibly responsive, the combat looks good and it feels fluid. I did test this as well in a number of conditions, a nighttime level, the desert, the boss encounter where the visuals, the special effects are particularly dialed up. It's all supported then with load screens that do not outstay their welcome, so it seems to be causing no negative effects elsewhere on the experience. The nerves though, these first couple of levels, they're putting my mind at ease, because as it stands, it looks good. I appreciate the new visual work, the music, it's always going to be incredible, let's face it. And then the voice acting, yes, the English, a little grating honestly, but having the option of Japanese, it just kind of shows they went above and beyond. Most importantly though, the frame rate is stable. I will have a full review on this one prior to release, so please be aware this is just the opening moments. If anything changes, I will be letting you know there. I'll make sure to cover all of this again and ensure it holds steady throughout. When that video is live, I'll be linking that in the pinned comment below. With that then, look, I'm going to be leaving you with a little more of that frame rate footage, so hit subscribe, join us here for reviews and deals daily, and I'll see you all on the next video. Thanks everyone.